Why do we do dips in Ashtanga? Why at the end of our back bends does a teacher come over and dip us backwards? So they can give comments here and say why they think, but let's ask the group here, why do you guys think that we do those silly dip things at the end? Anybody have an idea?
I don't know, you already warmed up and then you're going a little bit deeper?
That's a really common, so going a little deeper is one of the ideas, to go deeper.
To get past your fear, if you have fear of...
To get past your fear. That's another one. That's another idea. So to help somebody pass that fear point. Anybody on there commenting? Anybody want to have a guess why we do this? Nope.
To make me terrified.
Me terrified, you know. Well,
Teach you to stay in your legs.
Teaches you to stay in your legs.
Support.
That's a good guess. Support.
Any other hacks?
Making a new pattern. So, guess what? You're all correct. You're all correct. But it depends on the student, right? So, is the student that's scared, am I dipping them back so that they can go to their deepest? No, I'm going to scare them right out of the room. So all I'm doing with the person that's scared is telling them it's okay. I'll give them a lot of support. Somebody who's scared, I'm giving them so much support in their back bend so that they don't have to be scared, so that they can find a way to let go. Because when we're scared, we tighten up our belly. When we tighten up our belly, our back bends get harder, right? So it creates more fear. So I want to give the person who's scared an ability to be able to let go, but enough support so they can, right? The person whose pattern is different, who maybe, like we've talked about this, like maybe the person who bends their knees when they drop back, right? Or Stinette was talking about, that's what you remember when you were standing up, right? Or was it dropping back or standing up? Standing up. Or was dropping back?
Did my heels get up?
Yeah. So when Stinette was dropping back, she was moving her hips way far forward and her heels were coming up. So she was in there and she was dropping back and she was going way far forward and she goes so far forward that the heels would come up, right? So I'm there just to create a new pattern of instead of going forward, going upward. So not moving the hips forward, but moving upward, right? And so that kept the heels down and that helped. So if that was a pattern, that's not something she could recreate on her own at that point, right? She needed support and some help to create that new pattern of going up instead of going forward. So yes, then the deeper. Some people have very big back bends. And so for them, they can drop back and they're not working at all. Like they have this either long torsos, because it does matter. Someone with a very long torso, a very bendy back, they can just bend back. And so their back bend, where they're not really fully embodied in it, looks like mine fully embodied, right? Because I have a shorter torso, harder for me. But the other person who's long torso, very bendy, they might need they need to tighten the line, right? That's what we talked about this morning in my sort, tighten the line. They have to tighten the noose a little in order for them to fully embody it. So it's not necessarily for me to actually bring them deeper, but I want them to embody the posture, and that might entail them coming a little deeper. But again, all of these things, when I come over to do dips, is so that they can have an experience that they couldn't have on their own. And that's all. And that's all any assist is, right? An assist is not to get you somewhere. It's really not. It's not to create something perfect or ending or anything like that. It's to create an experience that you couldn't find without some help or some support. You know, that's it. And whatever that means. Some people, they crunch in their low back. So sometimes it is grounding through the hips, like someone said. Sometimes it's finding their legs. So with some people, I'll actually ground them down so that they can find their legs and they can lift up. Some people, like Lisa today, I actually didn't do dips. I laid underneath of her and and so she had to lift up and over me. It's helping somebody find the experience in their back bend that is not painful, because we're not after a painful experience, and we're not after a perfect experience, right? That's like, we're not after something that we can look at and take a picture of. You know, we want something that our whole body is integrated and absorbed in a back bend that is fully integrated, fully in one, awake, you know, where there isn't pain, where you don't feel your low back and you aren't holding on in your shoulders. So whatever I can do as a teacher, I'm not doing it to you with dips, I'm doing it with you. I'm joining with you so that you can have an experience, so we can have that experience together, that you know where you're going, that you can feel it, that you couldn't find on your own. And that's all. And that's simple, right? So if you walk to every student, and every student you think you're bringing deeper, well, 1 and maybe 10% of the students will get the experience you're looking for because they were the ones that needed to tighten the noose. But then there's going to be the student that was scared who's now terrified, or the person who had pain who's now deeper into pain, or the person whose pattern was such that bringing them deeper compromised their position. So you can't walk up to every student and be coming with the same intention. You need to come to join with them so that they have the experience of their full body, of the full pose. They become the pose. And whatever that support you can give them is, that's what you give them. And that's why sometimes teachers don't do dips. My teacher doesn't do dips all the time. You know, this last time I was there, he didn't do dips with me. Apparently, I hadn't found my hamstrings quite so much. So instead, he had me do something that really found my hamstrings and was incredibly hard. And afterwards, I didn't want dips, and I was too tired.
He didn't give anyone.
No, he didn't give anyone because he worked the crap out of us.
Nobody
wanted dips, so we like sat down. So so that was another question. Can you opt out of the dips? Well, in my room, we're working together. I am not a dictator. I am not telling you what you have to do. You know, I'm a little bit of it. Chris says I'm okay, I'm running a little. Yeah, you can't. But
a benevolent
we're
dictator.
doing
Let's say
it
that.
together. If the student says to me when I come over, I'm having pain, then what I'm doing is I'm trying to help them find their way out of pain, right? So Lisa and I talked today, right? I was saying you can't back away before, we have to find the experience so that you know where you're going to go when I'm gone. So I want you to move into the experience of full body without automatically coming out of it every time or opting out of whatever it is you want to opt out of. But we join together, we're doing it together. That means we have to communicate, you have to tell me what your experience is, and that doesn't mean like we have a long conversation about your sacrum or your whatever, but that if you say, ouch, that hurts, that is information, and we're doing that together. And sometimes I'll say to somebody, we're not going to do dips today. That's okay, that's all right, right? This is to help you. Bottom line is, why do we do dips? To help create an experience of the posture, of an embodiment, of full awake, of no pain, no fear, right? Tighten the, whatever it is, but no two students are the same. And that's why when we do dips, I never give the same. It's never really the same. I'm hopefully trying to give each student what they need, not a prescription that I've written for everyone, right? So hopefully that answers the question. Remember, it's a team effort. That is a time when the teacher is right there in front of you. So if you are having pain in your back bends, good time to tell them, you know? If you're having pain in your shoulders, good time to tell them. Teachers know how to help support you in the process so that you can recreate that experience on your own. Done. That's it, right? So we're going to get on with our workshop today. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for allowing this. And we'll see you. I am sure we're going to the alpaca farm. So I bet that we end up periscoping from the alpaca farm. Yeah, that's where we're going today. So fun, right? It has to do with yoga. It has to. Baby. Bye. Thank you.
It's always hard to turn off.
I know.